Forced rhubarb and perseverance? What's that got to do with anything? Stay tuned. Welcome, no matter where you are in the world, to another session of the Business Renovator. And yeah, what does forced rhubarb and perseverance got to do with anything? Well, hang out with me and I'll try and help you understand what that's all about. Well, let's just jump right into it. One of the ways we can and make things happen in our lives is to hang out with like-minded people that are forward-thinking, optimistic, future-oriented, solution-oriented, versus the opposite side of that. And because of that mindset and attitude towards the people I hang out with, I'm so excited. Later this month, and it is a new month, it's September 1st right now, I'm going to have the author of this book, 17, Michael Heppel, on. So in reading his book, I came across a whole bunch of great nuggets. 17 is a magic number. But he talks about forced rhubarb. So where he's from, in the UK, the northern part, they force rhubarb to grow in a certain way. And I'm not going to steal all of his thunder, but I thought this was brilliant. Basically, to keep the roots and tender, the shoots, so that it continues to stay that way for a long period of time, they grow it in a certain way in the dark, and they actually harvest it under candlelight. But before they can do the harvesting, the initial growth period, according to what I'm reading here, is the forced rhubarb has 2 years of preparation. Yes, 2 years of prep, becoming hardy, strong, and resilient first. Forcing the rhubarb, someone close or even yourself, to grow without controlled exposure to the elements won't give you your sweet results. So what he's suggesting here is that we need to go through the gestation period and the challenges that life throws to us. Some would call it fail or failing. And if you take fail and turn it into an acronym, it's first attempt in learning. So taking the idea and the philosophy that's written in this particular segment of this book, there is a period of building and growing and becoming delightfully successful, whether that be in business, relationships, doesn't matter. The philosophy is the same. And if you don't, he says you're more likely to have a bitter end. So if you don't want a bitter end, grow yourself like forced rhubarb. Maybe look it up if you want the real prescription, or reach out to me and we can have a conversation. I'll tell you about it. And my information is right there, coachphil.ca. Phil@coachphil.ca is the email, and the coachphil.ca is the website. Great little book packed with lots of great stuff. I'm excited that he will be here on the 17th of September. Isn't that interesting how that came about? Okay, maybe not so interesting to you. It's interesting to me. I thought, because of the relevance of this book, 17 in the title, September 17th, but good time to have him come on. So we shifted the calendar around, and he will be here as a guest later in the month of September. Who's here popped in? I have some other stories that I want to share with you around perseverance and the same kind of idea of forced rhubarb. Yeah, fail forward. Absolutely. First attempt in learning and also fail forward. Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Ron. Thanks for being here. Bamboo. I don't know if you knew this or not. It takes somewhere between 2 to 3 years once the seed has been planted before you'll see a shoot of bamboo. Apparently, according to friends of mine that have bamboo that grows in their yard once it gets started, it's kind of like a weed and it continues to go on. So it's very perseverance as well. It's very perseverance as well. No, that's not proper English. It's persistence and it has perseverance. But you don't see anything for a couple of years once it's first planted. So what's that got to do with the hill of beans around perseverance and getting shit done? Well, I think it has a lot to do with that kind of thing. Just recently, something happened in Canada to do with hockey. Hockey in the summertime is kind of weird, but we had it because the World International Ice Hockey Federation canceled the women's gold medal tournament because of the goings on. So they were able to create a bubble in the city where I live and have the tournament here. And what happened is the Canadian women's team had not won a gold medal. I believe it was for 9 years, I believe it could have been. They've had some bronzes and silvers along the way, but not gold. The U.S. had become a powerhouse and a strong team and a tough competitor. So guess who was in the finals just yesterday? It was USA versus Canada. Now, in the round robin, Canada, I think they poked the bear. They beat them 5-1. And in the round robin, it's not all that important to win and beat your competitor that way. It's important to advance in the round robin to get to the medal round. So both the U.S. and Canada did that, but I think the Canadian women actually poked them a little bit and got them a little bit more resourceful, let's say, or maybe raised their competitive edge. They poked the bear because yesterday in the first period of it, the Canadians were down 2-0. The Americans were showing strong effort and great acumen in terms of their ability to play hockey and take it to the Canadian women. But just like forced rhubarb or bamboo, the Canadian women did not give up. They didn't give up for the almost 10 years, and they had the aspirations of winning a gold medal again and bringing it home to Canada. And the good news for Canadians is that they were able to do that, and that happened last night. Perseverance. Yes, it's only a game. I know that. In the bigger things of important things in life, how important is it? I'm not sure it's all that important, but I kind of like hockey and it's kind of fun. There's a lesson there, and together they were able to accomplish their goal and carry on and persist, even though they were down 2-0 at the end of the first period. They tied it up in the second period, and it was tied at the end, so they went into an overtime 3-on-3 competition until somebody scored. Which takes me to another spot. When I was a youngster and didn't have a car, wasn't even old enough to own a car or have a license, and we were living in a fairly decent sized city, not huge by any stretch of imagination, but when you're walking, that's your only mode of transportation. You need to persist and have a reason for going somewhere. So instead of worrying about the 10 miles, you need to walk carrying your guitar or your set of drums, which is one of the things that I was recalling this morning. That actually did happen. We didn't have a car. We were too young, and we ran out of money for the bus. So we had to walk carrying this gear. So knowing that we wanted to get home, that was the big vision. That was a big purpose. We did that. And what helped us do that, besides talking to each other along the way, a buddy of mine and me, was to focus on what's immediately in front of us, see as far as we could see and continue. And what ends up happening by taking that on is you eventually get to the bigger vision that you had in mind. And in this case, it's getting home safely with our music gear. That took the idea of forced rhubarb, and if you look at the forced rhubarb, in order to be able to have the success at the end and the nice shoots of rhubarb, there needs to be that foundational piece that Michael Heppel talks about in his book 17. And that also applies to us. So that's one little story about that. And remember, all masters were once a disaster, according to T. Harv Eker. Nobody starts off, or very few people start off of being proficient at anything at the first time they do it. They might be ahead of other people, but there's always room to learn and improve. And it's in the perseverance and the stick-to-itiveness that's really important. I have a couple of people on that are watching here right now. Kellen Ann is a really good example of get-to-itiveness and stick-to-itiveness. She had a job during COVID. She lost her job during COVID, but in between all of that, she decided to do what she really wanted to do. And as a result of that, about, 18 months later, she's not living where she was, and she's in a home in a new part of the country she's in, which is in the USA. She went from the West Coast to the East Coast, although I've been told she's not on the East Coast side of things. She's in the Southern US. So I'm going to leave it at that. She's living her dream. She's in a house that mortgage-free, building her business and living the life that she is enjoying. Less stress, more relaxed, giving her more time to actually do what she does. And she's finally come out of the closet. She started her business in California in a closet. Now, talk about perseverance. I mean, lots of people may have given up, giving all the reasons why they couldn't be successful and not look at the reasons they could. That's why I like hanging out with Kellen on things like our Megamind meetings, or we get together periodically to talk about stuff, people, attitude, what's happening, where is she getting connections made. So you can learn so much from other people in and around the forced rhubarb concept. Brian Tracy, who I'm affiliated with, had a 28-minute soundbite if you listen to it at normal speed. And I took it upon myself to take that on and listen to it for 30 days as a challenge to develop my tenacity, my stick-to-itiveness. And I found it was very impactful. It was basically divided into 3 segments. And it's in the middle segment where I garnered the most out of it. There's 5 things that Brian talked about. It says that dialogue we're having in our head that happens all the time. Pay attention to it and change what's not supporting you. That's the first thing. One of the ways to change that, it would be to control your self-talk, or change your affirmations or your auto-suggestions, as Napoleon Hill talks about. So there's 2 things. Another thing is to pay attention to who you're hanging out with, what books you're reading, what podcasts you're watching, how much TV you're watching, because we're programming our minds, whether we're doing it intentionally or accidentally. Because with what goes in, in the computer programming world, it's garbage in, garbage out. So if you want to have good things coming in and good things coming out, what are you putting in there? Who are you hanging out with? What are you reading? Who are you listening to? And what are you giving sanction to? Is it supporting you towards the life you want to live, or is it taking you away? And another aspect of the middle chunk of the soundbite that I was listening to about Brian Tracy, and my challenge is to visualize yourself at your ideal future life. What would it look like? And a way to do that is, if you would like to, if you don't know how to do that, and if you're struggling with that, is to let your imagination go free without any restrictions. So imagine yourself writing a novel, a fiction novel, because writing your ideal life chapter right now would be fiction, right? So write that chapter as if you have all the resources that you absolutely need. And if there comes but how am I going to do that? I can't do that because I'm too old, I'm too young. Just put that aside for now and focus on what you would really like to do, be, and contribute to, and who. Think about that like a Stephen King novel. Write the first chapter. I don't think any of Stephen King's are factual books. They're all fantasies. And some of them got turned into movies, like The Green Mile. I love that. But it first started with an idea in writing. And if you get stuck with writing, a nugget out of the book 17, commit to writing in 17-minute sprints and write whatever. And as Michael says, you can't write crap for 17 minutes. Some of it will be good. Extract the stuff that's good, put it into your ideal life story, and start seeing yourself as if it's already done. It's powerful, powerful, powerful. I could go on, but I want to keep this to about a 15 to 16-minute segment. So I'm going to pop in and see who's here. We've got Ron Goodwin, who's saying hello to our friend Callanan, who I've already talked about. And there's a few people watching in a number of different channels that I cannot see at the moment. I thank you for being here. If you like what this is about, share it out with other people. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hashtag replay if you're watching this later on at some point in time. If you know of somebody who has something to share, something to say, introduce us. We're always looking to have guests on. You don't have to be an author of a book. That's just a bonus as far as I'm concerned. If you have a book and you are an author and you want to tell the world about it, reach out to me, phil@coachphil.ca. Hey, good morning, John. How are you? Welcome, and thank you for being here. I want to leave you with this last sound, or not sound bite, but this last image. Let me go there and find it. It's right here. One of my mentors a long time ago said to me and to everybody that was in his tutelage, he said to think about yourself as somebody who's unique and imagine yourself as being wonderful because you truly are wonderful. See you on the next episode of The Business Renovator.